Congratulations on getting accepted to UT Austin. I know you're probably crazy excited to come out and be a Longhorn, but I also understand that you're probably also nervous and you have a ton of questions about whether UT is the right school for you. And in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and give you 3 steps you can take to evaluate whether or not UT Austin is a good pick for you and hopefully help you make a more informed decision. Now, before I go any further, I want to go ahead and give a disclaimer that I am by no means an expert on any of these subjects. I'm simply giving you my advice based on my own experience and my time working at the Office of Admission. So the first thing I wanted to cover is how do you analyze your financial aid package? So a good starting place would be going ahead and looking into the cost of attendance. So every single year the university releases the cost of attendance, and this number represents a combination of tuition, housing, food, and other miscellaneous costs. Now this figure does not mean that is exactly how much it takes to be able to attend UT, but it does give a good representation of roughly what you can expect to pay. Now with that said, what you have to do as a student is take a look at the financial aid being offered by UT. This is based on what you were able to apply for, such as FAFSA, TASFA, and so on, and seeing how much money they're giving you. Now, I'm sure as you may have heard, but if not, let me just quickly outline. So there are usually a combination of 3 different things. There are loans, there are also grants, and there are scholarships. Now going ahead and taking a look at your financial aid package once it's released to you, which can be found on My Status under the Financial Aid tab, will help you understand how much the university is offering you, how much the state might be offering you, and other organizations are able to give you to finance your education. Take the combination of loans, scholarships, and grants together and deduct that from the overall cost of attendance. And then the deficit would be the amount of money you still have to find different ways of being able to pay. Now, this is where it really gets a little bit more difficult to find different means of paying for that remaining amount. For every student, it's going to look a little bit different just depending on circumstances, but paying for it is entirely up to you to decide and figure out. Now, if you're fortunate enough to be able to have support from your parents or family members or whoever else it might be, that is definitely a great option. But for anyone else, I know myself, this wasn't an option. There are other ways to be able to meet the deficit. The best ways to finance your education, and this applies to all students regardless of income, regardless of any other status, is scholarships. Now, every single year, thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of scholarships go unclaimed. So make sure, even though you've already been accepted, you're actively applying for all these different programs, foundations, and any other scholarship you can possibly find. Overall, the more you apply to, the higher likelihood that you're going to receive some of those, and that would go towards reducing your deficit. And this leads me perfectly to my second point. Now understanding that you have a deficit that you have to meet, and you have taken a look into what this cost of attendance entails and what it includes, now we have to go ahead and calculate into ways of deducing the cost of attendance. Now, let me go ahead and retract a little bit. Like I mentioned before, the cost of attendance is an estimate of what the university expects for a student to pay. So whenever you're going ahead and taking a look at the cost of attendance, keep in mind the figure they're using for things such as housing, food, and transportation varies depending on what you are using. So there are certain things that you cannot control. You can't control the rate on your tuition. For the most part, that will vary depending on your major and the college you're attending. But factors such as housing, transportation, and food can definitely be reduced and also inflated if you just prefer a more luxurious or bougier lifestyle. So the number one thing I would recommend for any student who's trying to reduce their costs to be able to attend UT is definitely take into consideration your various housing options. Now, contrary to popular belief, dorms are not your most affordable option. Not at all. You see, the typical dorm at UT Austin is going to run you the same, if not more, as if you were getting an apartment in West Campus. West Campus is the area directly across from the university, across the street Guadalupe if you've had the chance to be able to tour, and it is very close within walking distance, so keep that in mind. Maybe you're not very comfortable with the thought of living outside of the university parameters, but I promise you, over time you'll learn to accommodate and pick up things that will help and make your life hopefully a little bit easier. Other ways that you can reduce that housing cost is by taking on a roommate. So let's say you decide to go ahead and look for an apartment. A lot of apartments, especially in West Campus, do what is known as double occupancy, and what that means is that you can go ahead and have either a random roommate or have a person you may know that's going to UT as well room with you. And overall, that would reduce your costs of living, your costs of housing in half. Now, this is a really great option if you have a good friend or someone who's just close to you that you don't mind living with. But just do keep in mind that if you do decide to go the random roommate route, this might get a little bit more complicated and you have to take other factors into consideration. If you would like to hear a bit more of what your housing options are, definitely let me know in the comments and I'm more than happy to make a dedicated video to that. Don't bring a car. Now, one really great thing about UT Austin and the city of Austin in general is that since it is a larger city, they have a really great metro system that you have access to as a UT student for absolutely nothing. It's free. And this is especially really helpful if you live a little bit further away from the university, because that means you can go ahead and commute by metro and be able to save on the cost of having a car, the cost of maintaining that car, and other associated things. Now, I do understand that the current times that we're living in means that traveling by bus might make things a little bit uncomfortable, if not potentially hazardous for your own safety and health. But I'm optimistic that hopefully by the time you are able to attend UT Austin, things will be back to somewhat normalcy. But if not, definitely disregard this. And you know, if it really does come down to you having to find any way possible to cut your costs, just do keep in mind that the city of Austin is doing their best to make sure that things are kept as safe as possible. Another really great way to save is actually switching from having a physical book to going and opting for the digital book instead. So I think it's no secret by now, but college books are expensive. And especially if you're buying them from the university store, which is the co-op, you will find that the prices might be slightly higher than you will find on other retailers. I definitely recommend, if you are the type of person who really wants a physical copy of a book, definitely look at your options on Amazon, on Chegg, and any other of those similar websites. Just go ahead and shop around and you'll be able to find, for the most part, a better deal most of the times. But the other really great way to save is actually just going ahead and buying or finding the PDF online. Now, there are tons of websites who provide PDFs for college books, and you might get them for a fraction of what the cost would be for a physical one. The last tip I have for you to reduce your costs is look into possibly going to community college for the first 2 years or first year of your undergraduate career. Now, some of you may be in the position where you took AP classes or you may have taken dual enrollment courses, and this is definitely going to save you a lot of time and money to be able to cover some of those basic prerequisite classes that you need for higher division, or maybe just to cover your core curriculum, which are classes that every single student has to take. It could possibly save you half the cost of an undergraduate degree at UT Austin. Just make sure that you always check on the UT transfer equivalency system to see if it would actually work out to work in your benefit. Now, the last factor you should consider is UT worth it? So this means checking to see if going to UT has more benefits that outweigh any positives or potentially anything that could be detrimental for your career later down the road. So you want to consider things such as, does UT offer the major I want to study? Do they offer a good program for the particular industry I would like to attend? Are recruiters, are different companies highly recruiting from UT Austin? Are they a feeder school for any other programs or companies? And you also want to take into account, is the cost or any debt I might accumulate worth it in the long run? Now, this is a question that each of you has to answer on your own. I wish I can give you a solid way to decide whether or not it is a good pick for you, but unfortunately that's not the case. But a few things I can tell you is that going to UT Austin these past 3 years has really given me access to a tremendous amount of opportunities. If you still feel very overwhelmed and don't know where to start, definitely just start by asking more and more questions. Reach out to the admission office, reach out to current students. Maybe you have a sibling or a friend that has gone to UT or is currently a student. Make sure that you ask them any questions that you may have. Now, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it helped you clarify some questions you might have had, and definitely let me know if there's any topics you would like for me to explore that are UT related, or maybe other topics just generally about college. But once again, please make sure to leave a comment, give me your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much and have a great one. Bye-bye.